At 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535.
Coming up Monday, the draft is done. Trades are happening. We'll get you ready for NBA free agency and tell you who should sign where. Monday morning, 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Do you ever wish that you could get closer to the world of sports? Well, with the ESPN app, you're one app and one tap away from the action. You can get live scores and stats for your NBA team, or follow your favorite golfer as she launches off the tee. You even get 24/7 coverage of the biggest NFL plays. So what are you waiting? Oh, sorry, I got carried away. So what are you waiting for? Download the ESPN app and get closer than ever.
Greeny. It's the greatest postseason any player ever had. It does not make him the greatest center of all time. One of the elements of becoming an all-time great player is doing it for a long time.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
The WNBA is off to a record-setting start. This season's about super team expectations.
It's a really special opportunity. Things like this don't happen often.
Leveling up.
Don't reach your head. All she wants to do is show out.
And a shiny new rookie class.
Austin slips inside, lays it in.
The WNBA. We're all about Washington at New York. Today at 1 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Presented by Google.
Chris Canty and Chris Carlin are Canty and Carlin.
Summertime for me was always the ice cream truck coming to town. I run inside, Mom, can I get some buy? I want to get ice cream. Ice cream. The Good Humor truck coming. I had friends who would swear up and down that I was an idiot for not ordering the toasted almond bar. Well, guess what? The toasted almond bar has been discontinued. I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to this kind of thing, desserts in America. Last year, when the whole Choco Taco controversy came up, I contend that was all a ruse. Sales were not where they wanted to be. So let's threaten to take it away from America and see what happens. The Choco Taco came back. I think the toasted almond people did the exact same thing, thinking that they would hear the outrage and it would come back and their sales would be better than ever. I say no. I've had people that just swore up and down by this thing, beyond stupidly passionate about it. It was bad. Imagine a really bad actor with a really good publicist.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. June in Omaha is a celebration of college baseball.
Finally ready to go. The College World Series in Omaha.
From the plays that leave you in awe.
Are you kidding me?
To the moments that define a season.
To the wall and go!
Watch all the tradition and high-stakes action from Omaha. The Men's College World Series, presented by Capital One, continues on the networks of ESPN. Center all night.
Can the Reds push their winning streak to 13?
Here's a 2-1 pitch. And Benson swings. He clobbers this. High, very deep. Left center field, gone.
Victor Wembanyama gets a Texas-sized welcome in San Antonio.
As a basketball player, I'm trying to be myself. At the same time, I'm trying to learn.
LSU and Florida face off in Game 1 of an All-SEC College World Series final.
0-2 Fisher to White. That ball is drilled. Left field, back, and we are tied.
Plus, we take you around the diamond in the majors. McKinney crushes that. 1-0 Yankees. Billy McKinney.
This is Sports Center all night.
I haven't experienced playing under Coach Pope yet, but I know for sure my mom wasn't as hard as him because she was only my coach when I was probably like 5 years old. So if she had been as tough as Coach Pope, I probably would have quit.
Here's Chris Sylvester.
Welcome to Sports Center all night. We're on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. I'm Chris Sylvester. Great to have you with us as we embark on the final Sunday of June. Saturday had plenty to offer, including the opening game of the championship series in the Men's College World Series. We'll let you know what happened in Game 1 from Omaha between LSU and Florida. Plus, we'll hear from the NBA Draft's top pick. Saturday in San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama met the media. But we start our slate with a busy Saturday in Major League Baseball. No bigger story in the month of June than the upstart Cincinnati Reds, who took a 12-game winning streak into Saturday's tilt against the Atlanta Braves at Great American Ballpark. Atlanta up 4-2, and they'd stretch the lead courtesy of Matt Olson.
Ashcraft exhales, leg kick in the 2-2. Hit in the air out towards deep center field. Sprinting that way, Friedel. Friedel cannot get there. It's out of the ballpark. Just over the yellow line. Matt Olson sends that one flying, and it's a 2-run homer to give the Braves a 6-2 lead here in the fourth.
680 The Fan had the call, so the Braves led 6-2 early in the game. 24th big fly of the year for Olson, who takes the National League lead in that category. The Reds, they would fight back, though.
Here's the 0-1. And Fraley yanks it to right. Well hit. It's deep. It is gone. The Reds get one back. Jake Fraley belts it out of here to right. His 11th home run of the year. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And Benson swings. He clobbers this. High, very deep. Left center field. Gone. Wow. Back-to-back home runs, Fraley and Benson. And the Reds are within one.
700 WLW had the call. Back-to-back jacks for Fraley and Benson. So all of a sudden, it's Atlanta clinging on to a one-run lead in the ninth when Jonathan India stepped into the batter's box against the former Cincinnati Reds closer, Raisel Iglesias.
2-2 on the way. Got him swinging. Strike three. Braves even the series will have a rubber game tomorrow. And the winning streak for the Reds is now a thing of the past. They see their 12-game winning streak come to an end at the hands of the Atlanta Braves.
680 The Fan again. The 12-game winning streak, as mentioned, it's history. Braves beat the Reds 7-6. Here's what Reds manager David Bell had to say after the team's first loss in a couple weeks.
It was quite a streak, and it went on for a while, so we did get used to it, and that's a good thing. It was a great streak. We all appreciate what we were able to accomplish against good teams, and we learned a lot about ourselves. We became a better team. We became stronger. But it is, as appreciative of the streak as we are, that everything, who we are and what we have in our clubhouse does not go away. And that's very strong. And that's important for us to remember. I know that we all know that. And, there's a lot that has been built over the course of really the entire season. And it just kind of, picked up steam here the last couple of weeks. So we have that moving forward. And as disappointing as it was today, we'll make sure we all remember that, who we are and what we have in our clubhouse does not end today.
Despite the loss, the Reds still lead the National League Central by a game and a half over the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, you heard this one on Saturday right here on ESPN Radio, a 2017 World Series rematch between the Astros and the Dodgers from Los Angeles. LA took the series opener Friday. Early in Saturday's contest, Mookie Betts was on the wrong end of a web gem.
The 1-0 from Blanco, and Betts swings and a fly ball. Left field and deep. Back goes Corey Julks into the corner. Leaps, and he caught it. Leaping catch right in front of the Dodger bullpen. May have brought a home run back.
Roxy Bernstein had the call here on ESPN Radio, so keep it away from Corey Julks. Understood, says Jason Hayward.
The 1-0 pitch, and Hayward lines it to right, going back is Tucker, and it's over his head, and that's gone. Jason Hayward, a line drive homer to right, straight away. 3-0 Dodgers.
So a 3-run first for the Dodgers, but plenty of time for Houston to catch up, and catch up they would in grand fashion.
The 2-2 to Bregman. Swing and a drive to left, hooking toward the corner. Alex Bregman, grand slam, it's gone. Over the low part of the wall and left. And a line drive and the slam from Bregman is second this season. And the Astros have taken the lead. 5-3 Houston.
6th career grand slam for Alex Bregman. But the Dodgers would claw back. Tied at 7 in the 8th. LA would untie it with the benefit of a balk.
And time is called, and a balk has been called on Stanek. And the Dodgers have taken the lead on the balk. Called by the second base umpire, Junior Valentine. And Stanek pleading his case to the second base umpire. And he's quizzically looking around going, I didn't balk. What's going on here? And Dusty Baker has a puzzled look, wondering why a balk was called from the first base dugout. A balk has brought in the go-ahead run.
Certainly some controversy with the balk. Stanek was ejected from the game, as was Dusty Baker. But that balk, the difference at Chavez Ravine on Saturday, 8-7. The Dodgers win a 4th in a row. Another AL West, NL West matchup in Denver Saturday. Angels visiting the Rockies. The Halo Bats, they'd been quiet during a 3-game losing streak, scoring just 4 runs over their previous 3 games. Saturday at the hitting-friendly confines of Coors Field, the Bats would wake up, like really wake up.
Next pitch, he swings at this one, drives the ball to dead center field, and it is Trout here. He hit it out into the trees behind the wall in dead center. Mike Trout with that home run. He's had homers back-to-back nights in Denver, and the Angels add on. It's 3-0. Next batter up, swinging and driving a ball is Drury out to left center, and that's out of here. Second night in a row, the Angels go back-to-back. It's 4-0. Here's the next pitch. This is driven deep out into right field, and it's out of here. Matt Thaiss, the Angels with homers by their first 3 batters here in inning number 3, and now the lead goes to 5-0.
Angels Radio AM 830, Terry Smith had the call. Second time this year, the Angels go back to back to back. And that was just the beginning of the Halos onslaught. They would score 13 runs in the inning. It was 15-0 after 3, and the offense didn't show any signs of slowing down in the 4th inning.
Angels have 20 runs on 20 hits already in this game, and here's Fletcher swinging and driving a ball deep out into left center, and that one is out of here. That is a 3-run homer for David Fletcher, and now it's 23-0.
23 runs for the Angels through 4 innings Saturday in Denver, the most runs through 4 innings since 1922, when the Cubs had 25 in the run column through 4 innings against the Phillies. Angels emphatically snap a 3-game skid. They set a franchise record in runs and hits, 25 in the run column, 28 in the hit column for the Halos, 25-1. The final score. After the game, the 2 teams made a trade. The Halos acquired the 3-time All-Star Mike Moustakas from Colorado. Moustakas now 34 years old. He was born in Los Angeles. Now, from gaudy offensive numbers to a good pitching matchup in the Bronx on Saturday, the AL West leading Rangers taking on the New York Yankees. John Gray for Texas, Luis Severino for New York. Scoreless in the fourth, but not for long.
McKinney crushes that. 1-0 Yankees. Billy McKinney, slow down, young man. Home run number 4 for the Yankees' hottest hitter.
Yes, Network had the call. That would be all the offense this game had to offer. Yankees blanked the Rangers 1-0. Now, that was the good news for the Yankees on Saturday. The bad news, the status of Aaron Judge, last season's record-setting slugger, revealed that he has a torn ligament in his right big toe and is experiencing pain when he walks. The Yankees placed Judge on the injured list back on June 6th. There remains no timetable for the return of the reigning American League MVP. Here's what Yankees skipper Aaron Boone had to say about Judge's lingering injury.
He referred to it as a tear, which I guess by definition is a sprain. But what is your understanding of how significant it is, what he's dealing with?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know a level. I mean, yeah, strain, sprain, which is a tear. I mean, the reality is he's just not yet at a level where he can play. My dealings and conversations that I have regularly with Aaron is he feels like he's getting better every day, and able to do a little bit more each and every day, but not to the point where, obviously he's running or doing full baseball stuff yet. So, we just got to continue to wait and get him there. He's obviously as tough as they comes, and, he wants to be back out there. So we'll just keep trying to get him healed and treated and hope for the best.
Now, baseball is better when Aaron Judge is playing. Right now, the Yankees hold the second wild card spot in the American League. Still to come on SportsCenter all night, a classic in Omaha. Saturday, it was Game 1 of the Men's College World Series Championship Series between LSU and Florida. Plus, we'll hear from Wemby. This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, this is a very big and important question. Which is more likely to exist, Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster? Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU. You don't want to miss it.
This is SportsCenter all night on ESPN Radio.
Have you heard of Instacart? I use it to get same-day delivery for my groceries and essentials. So I figured it's time to join Instacart Plus. Now I get unlimited free delivery on orders over $35, 5% credit back on pickup, and a family account. With all these benefits, our savings really add up. No wonder Instacart Plus members save $460 a year when they order at least once a week. See how much you'll save. Visit instacartplus.com for 2 weeks free. Average savings exclude membership fee. Individual savings may vary. Credit back excludes alcohol. Paid membership auto renews. Additional terms apply.
I started shopping for weekly groceries through Instacart because with young kids, my week is pretty packed. There's Taekwondo, tap lessons, and endless birthday parties. But with Instacart, I can get groceries and weekly essentials delivered in as fast as an hour, which gives me time back. Wait, wasn't it this kid's birthday last month? Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
The Jack FM guarantee. At least one stinker in every bunch of socks. Just search Jack FM on TuneIn to listen.
It's been...
Oh, you're my best friend.
Jack FM. Playing what we want.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems.
But sports ain't one. Sports.
Deep to left field. There it goes.
As long as you listen to Sports on TuneIn, you don't have any problems. Sports and Sports Talk is on TuneIn Radio. Search sports to listen now.
In 1971, awaiting trial for leaking the Pentagon Papers and facing up to 115 years in prison, Daniel Ellsberg was asked if he had any regrets.
How can you measure the jeopardy that I'm in to the penalty that has been paid by 50,000 American families and hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese families? It would be presumptuous of me to pity myself, and I certainly don't.
On the next On the Media from WNYC. Listen to the On the Media podcast on TuneIn today.
Hey, true crime fans. Have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
Audiobook fans, get ready for a world of listening. TuneIn Premium now has over 100,000 titles for you to explore, unlimited and uninterrupted. For one great price, you get access to all the titles you want. To learn more, search for audiobooks or navigate to the audiobooks tab.
You already know that the TuneIn app lets you listen on the go. But did you know that you can listen to TuneIn in your car too? Take TuneIn on the road by staying connected with CarPlay, Android Auto, or Bluetooth. Plus, you can tap on the car icon from the home screen on your app for a simplified experience that's safer for the car. Shorten your commute with all your favorite audio on TuneIn.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Sports Center All Night continues with Chris Sylvester.
Sports Center all night. Glad you're with us on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. Hey, Saturday opened the championship series in the Men's College World Series, an all-SEC final in Omaha. LSU and Florida matched up, same final as the 2017 Men's College World Series, won by the Florida Gators. 2-2 ball game. We picked things up in the Florida half of the sixth. Gators would untie it with one swing.
That ball is hammered to right field. RO is right. It is out of here. B.T. Ryapel. And as he flies the fence, the Gators jump into the lead.
Carl Ravitch and company on ESPN. What a postseason for B.T. Ryapel. He's got 6 hits, and 5 of them have left the yard. Florida would take the 1-run lead to the 8th, but LSU would answer. And another dramatic Tigers home run would come from a familiar source.
0-2 Fisher to White. That ball is drilled. Left field, back, and we are tied. Tommy Tanks does it again.
Tommy White had the walk-off to beat Wake Forest. Now the game-tying blast to pull even with Florida. This game would stay tied past regulation, so we'd head to the 10th inning in Omaha, and the long ball came up big for LSU once more.
Here's the 0-1 to Beloso. Hit high and deep to right field. Giving it a look is Scheikhofer, and this baby's gone! Kay Beloso gives the Tigers a 4-3 lead.
LSU Sports Radio Network with a big moment. LSU in 10 innings, 4-3 winners over Florida. Tigers are 1 win away from a 7th title in program history. It would be their first since 2009. After the game, Cade Beloso with ESPN's Chris Budden.
Cade, take me into that at-bat against Neely. What were you looking for?
I knew the previous at-bat, and he got me on 3 straight heaters, and I figured they were kind of going to go back to that. to the first swing, swung at one out of the zone, so I kind of knew it was coming again. But, I want to say one thing about Brandon Neely. That guy's unbelievable. He's one of the best pitchers in the country. He's fantastic.
Another guy that was unbelievable tonight was Ty Floyd. You just gave him a hug, 17 strikeouts. What did he give this team today?
He gave us a chance to win. That was unbelievable what Ty Floyd just did. And that's going to be talked about for years to come, no doubt. Ty Floyd's unbelievable. One of the greatest humans in the world, and, he happens to be damn good at baseball, too.
As they play calling Baton Rouge in here, a kid from Louisiana, can you describe for me what a win tomorrow night would mean to that state and this fan base?
I get goosebumps every time this song plays. This university, it means so much to me and our teammates, and I just love this place so much. And, a win tomorrow night would mean everything to us. I just love LSU so much, and I love my teammates so much.
Game 2 of the Men's College World Series Championship Series is set for 3 p.m. Eastern later on today on ESPN. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, presented by Progressive Insurance. Well, what a week it's been for Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick in Thursday's NBA draft. Met the media in San Antonio for the first time Saturday, but it was quite the journey to get there. ESPN reporter Andrew Lopez highlights the wild week that was for Wemby.
It's been quite a week for Victor Wembanyama. After arriving from France to the United States on Monday, Wembanyama had event after event leading up to Thursday's NBA draft. Once he heard his name called by Adam Silver, Wembanyama did 2 hours of media before finally getting to celebrate with his family. He arrived in San Antonio on Friday afternoon, and he was met by hundreds of Spurs fans at the airport. That night, Wembanyama had the chance to meet with Spurs staff and legends, including Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and Manu Ginobili, in a dinner he won't soon forget.
In probably a couple hours, I learned more about the NBA than in my whole life before, and it's such comforting to see that these people who are so important to the city of San Antonio and to the franchise are such kind people and generous, because they genuinely wanted to share with me their experience. And I feel like they've already started to take great care of me.
We're excited to grow with you, support you, challenge you, especially Coach Pop. There'll be a lot of challenging there.
I'm trying to be myself. I'm trying to learn and be as objective as I can, to become the best. But I'm also trying to be myself and not let anyone change the way I want to be and change the way I want to play. And I think this is really the way to become the best version of myself I can be as a player.
Wembanyama will finally get a chance to relax after Saturday's press conference, but not too much. He says there's still other things he needs to do in the States, including get up to Nike headquarters in Oregon. The next big step, Spurs Summer League practice, which starts on Thursday. Now, Wembanyama will play in Summer League, but just how much remains to be seen. In San Antonio with the Spurs, Andrew Lopez, ESPN.
Well, quite a week it was for the number 1 overall pick. You heard about his journey from rides on the New York City subway to throwing out the first pitch at a Yankees home game. Friday, he had a chance to grab a bite to eat with Spurs legends Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan.
In probably a couple hours, I learned more about the NBA than in my whole life before, and it's such comforting to see that these people who are so important to the city of San Antonio and to the franchise are such kind people and generous, because they genuinely wanted to share with me their experience. And I feel like they've already started to take great care of me, and it's just so comforting to be in that position. Is so comfortable, and I think it's also the position Tim Duncan was in when he came in, because he told me he just had to look up to David Robinson and Sean Elliott and follow their path, and he knew he was in good hands.
Well, the Spurs open up the Summer League schedule July 7th against the Charlotte Hornets and the number 2 overall pick, Brandon Miller. Well, still to come, walk-offs were aplenty in Major League Baseball on Saturday. We'll take you through all the big moments on the diamond. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Greeny.
It's the greatest postseason any player ever had. It does not make him the greatest center of all time. One of the elements of becoming an all-time great player is doing it.
Imagine this. You just got to the hotel and the whole family is ready to jump in that pool. But your sunscreen? Vanished. No sweat. Use Instacart to add SPF to cart and get delivery in as fast as 1 hour. Travel well with Instacart. Shop thousands of stores across the country to get what you need wherever you are. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum order $10. Additional terms apply. Instacart. Add life to cart.
I'm a sushi chef. I also happen to be a cat. How'd I get here? Adobe Photoshop. It turned a cute kitty like me into a sashimi master. And it can make your images look amazing too. In just a few clicks, you can replace a boring background, swap out a so-so sky, and remove distractions like people and power lines. With Photoshop, everyone can. I love playing with this mouse. Click or tap the banner to visit Photoshop.com and pounce on your free trial today.
I knew that I wanted to pursue a master's degree, but I didn't know how that was going to be possible with my lifestyle.
I did not want school to encompass my entire life, which it easily could have done. If you didn't participate, you weren't going to truly learn as much as you could have. And I think that's the special thing about Missouri Online is they truly challenge you to get involved and get the most out of the classes that they provide.
Missouri Online will give anyone the flexibility that they need to be able to fit school into their schedule.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Baseball fans, it's that time of the year again. The weather is getting warmer, and the boys of summer are taking the field. And if you're a fan of the MLB, you're in luck, because TuneIn is bringing you live coverage of every game. That's right. With TuneIn, you'll never miss a pitch, a hit, or a run. Whether you're at home, at work, or on the go, you can follow your favorite teams and players in real time. Search MLB or tell your device to play your favorite team on TuneIn to get in the game.
Are you looking for a way to listen to your favorite audio on the go? Look no further than the TuneIn app. With TuneIn, you can stay plugged into what matters most, no matter where your day takes you. Download the TuneIn app now and experience audio like never before.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, true crime fans, have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage.
Sports Center All Night continues with Chris Sylvester.
Sports Center All Night on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. For a job you'll love, visit progressive.com/careers.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter all night.
Well, LSU takes Game 1 of the Men's College World Series Championship Series in extra innings over Florida. West Virginia men's basketball names Josh Eilert interim head coach for the upcoming season. And Aaron Judge is out indefinitely with a torn ligament in his right big toe. Well, the New York Yankees clinging on to a playoff spot at the moment. They beat the Rangers 1-0 on Saturday. New York skipper Aaron Boone on staying afloat without last year's American League MVP for the foreseeable future.
I mean, he's out right now. So, just trying to, obviously get him well and back as soon as possible. But, no, whether we had a defined, day where he'd be back in, the reality is we're without him right now, and we've got to find a way to get it done. And again, we have the people in there to get it done. We just gotta do a better job right now of putting pressure on the opposing pitchers and defense.
Aaron Judge has been on the injured list since June 6th. The Yankees are just 11-16 without him in the starting lineup. So the Yankees jockeying for playoff positioning in the American League wild card with multiple teams, including the Houston Astros. The defending World Series champs were in Los Angeles Saturday, and this was the deciding factor in a one-run loss to the Dodgers.
And time is called, and a balk has been called on Stanek, and the Dodgers have taken the lead on the balk, called by the second base umpire, Junior Valentine. And Stanek pleading his case to the second base umpire. And he's quizzically looking around going, I didn't balk. What's going on here? And Dusty Baker has a puzzled look, wondering why a balk was called for the first base dugout. A balk has brought in the go-ahead run.
Roxy Bernstein and Doug Glanville had the call at Chavez Ravine on ESPN Radio Saturday, and they joined SportsCenter all night with a post-game extra.
All right, Chris, it was a beautiful day in L.A. for baseball, and a bizarre finish to the Dodgers coming back to beat the Astros. 4 straight wins for the Dodgers, and for the first time this season, they come back from a deficit of 4 or more runs to win a ball game, and it was in bizarre fashion in the bottom of the 8th, Doug.
Well, Rox, this was something that was highly unexpected. Not only the lead and being down by that much, but the bullpen of the Astros, which is exceptional. And so it took a combination of timely hitting and patience, but also the flustering and the failure of the Astros back into the bullpen, which is unusual. A lot of walks by Abreu. They gave him free passes. They balked. They just made a lot of mistakes late when it really counted, and the Dodgers just kept chipping away. And consider the Astros had to throw Blanco out there, who has been a reliever, who's learning to get into the starting mode, did a great job, and looked like they were in control, and they weren't. And the Dodgers really took control from them, and to their credit.
Dodgers used a long ball early, homers from Will Smith and Jason Hayward at a 3-0 lead. Houston came back using a 5-run fifth, sending 10 to the plate. Alex Bregman a grand slam. They had a 7-3 lead going to the bottom of the 7th. The pinch hit homer from David Peralta ignited the Dodgers. And then the control problems, Brian Abreu walked the first 3 hitters in the bottom of the 8th, and they all came in to score. And the winning run was Johnny DeLuca scoring on a balk charge to Ryan Stanek.
Yeah, and that takes everything to fall apart when it's one thing you walk the leadoff, you walk the first 3 leadoff, and they all score. That is a nightmare for a pitching staff or for a manager, that they all get on base without the Dodgers having to earn it, so to speak, in terms of hitting their way on or some other mistake. The Dodgers were kind of handed that, and they showed the discipline to accept it. And that combination just became the dagger, the win that actually put this whole game away, all in that one inning.
So the Astros have lost 7 of their last 9. On the other side, 4 straight wins for the Dodgers, who will go for a sweep of Houston on Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday night when they send Tony Gonsolin to the mound against Hunter Brown. Once again, our final in L.A. Comeback victory, the Dodgers 8-7 over the Astros. For Doug Glanville, I'm Roxy Bernstein, right here in your home for Major League Baseball, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Now back to Chris Sylvester in the studio.
All right, thanks, fellas. We'll hear from you guys again a little later on today. Tune in to an interleague battle tonight. It's the Dodgers and the Astros. Coverage of Sunday Night Baseball begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, and at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. So from Los Angeles to London, there's baseball everywhere this time of year. Cardinals and Cubs taking their rivalry overseas. And Chicago's Ian Happ wasted no time flexing his muscle in London.
Here is the pitch from Wainwright to Happ, and Ian cracks one in the air. Deep center field. Back goes Edman. Near the center field fence. That ball is gone. Ian Happ goes to dead center, and the Cubs lead 1-0. Straight away center field, right over the 392 sign.
Cubs Radio Network had the call. Ian Happ really enjoying his stay in London. So much, he said cheerio once more in his second at-bat.
Deep drive to right. This ball's got a chance. Happ has gone deep again today. Ian Happ's second home run of the game. It's his second two-homer game of his career against Adam Wainwright. And the Cubs lead 3-0 here in the third inning.
It was a jolly old romp. Cubs take the London series opener 9-1 over the Cardinals. They will wrap up the two-game set at London Stadium later on today at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Now, perhaps overshadowed by the stretch the Cincinnati Reds have put together in the month of June, it's about time we start giving some love to the San Francisco Giants. Winners in 11 of 12. The Giants had a chance to inch closer to the NL West leading D-backs Saturday, hosting Arizona. They were tied at 5 in the Bay. San Francisco got another big swing from a youngster.
Swing, there's a shot deep down the left field line. Way back there. Adios, pelota. Right past the foul pole, into the tunnel. And the rookie, Luis Matos, has just hit his first major league home run, and it puts the Giants ahead of the first place D-backs.
The great John Miller on KNBR had the call. Giants hold off the Snakes 7-6. San Francisco has won 12 of 13, and they sit just a game and a half back of Arizona for the top spot in the National League West. Well, lots of tight games in Major League Baseball Saturday, and tight games often call for big moments. No bare feet in the Windy City Saturday. Red Sox, White Sox. Tied at 4 in the bottom of the ninth. Elvis would send the White Sox fans home happy.
Kick by Jansen. Swing and a line drive into center. That's down. Remillard waves around third. The throw is not in time. Elvis Andrus wins it again. The White Sox walk off the Red Sox 5-4.
ESPN 1000 had the call. 7th career walk-off, courtesy of the veteran Elvis Andrus. I hope walk-off winners tickle your fancy, because the White Sox didn't have the only one on Saturday. Mariners at the Orioles. This one would go extras.
The pitch from Topa. To the gap in right center field and deep. Hernandez on the run. Turning around. And it's out of here. It's out of here. A walk-off winner for Ryan McKenna. And the Orioles win the game.
WBAL had the call. 2nd home run of the year for Ryan McKenna, who was originally placed into this game as a defensive replacement. Turns out his offense was the difference. And hope you bought stock on the 2023 Baltimore Orioles. They moved to 46-29. They've got the top American League wild card spot at the moment, and they've got a good chunk of cushion between them and the next teams that are sitting behind them in the American League wild card standings. Speaking of wild card races in the National League, the Miami Marlins have been a pleasant surprise in a wild card spot with a 4-game lead over the teams behind them. They'd go to extras with the Pittsburgh Pirates Saturday, and this one would head to an 11th inning.
Here is the 2-1 pitch. Birdie swings. Line drive right field. This baby is over. It's the fourth walk-off win of the season for the Marlins. John Birdie is the hero, and the Marlins walk off the Pirates 4-3 in 11.
940 WINZ had the call. Miami has been ridiculous in one-run games. Now 19-5 in games decided by one run this season. John Birdie was the hero Saturday, and Bally Sports Florida caught up with him after the game.
John, your first career walk-off. How did it feel to come up big for your team?
Felt great. Had a few chances last night and today with runners in scoring position and wasn't able to come through. So, just really bared down and tried to drive that running for us.
What was your approach in that last at-bat?
Just get something out over the plate that I could hit in the air to my strength.
Your team has had this ability to continue to bounce back. Where does that come from?
It starts from the top down, and, we follow Skip's lead, and, we're just here to battle out from the first pitch to the last pitch.
You did so in front of this incredible crowd. What was it like?
That was pretty awesome. The support was great tonight, and we look forward to having you guys out here again.
Lots of great surprises around Major League Baseball this season. The Marlins absolutely in that conversation, now 44 and 34 with Saturday's walk-off victory. Luis Arraez of the Marlins had a homer in this game. He's not known for his power. He's known for his contact. And this season, he's known for his batting average. It currently sits at .401 on the season. He's just the third player over the last 30 seasons to have a batting average of 400 or better through a team's first 78 games of a season. AL Central action, Tigers and Twins Saturday. Some early offense for Detroit in this one.
The 0-2 pitch and swing a little pop-up. Will that one drop? It will! They're waving Haas around third, and he will score without a throw. How about it? Make contact.
Make contact, Dan. Good things happen.
You drew it up, and
the infield drawn in. That's normally caught by the shortstop.
3-0 Tigers here in the second.
97.1 the ticket. No walk-off here, but it would be close. Tigers edge the Twins 3-2. How about baseball's best team, the Tampa Bay Rays, 53-26, hosting the 21-win Kansas City Royals. Tampa Bay jumped out to an early 4-0 lead in this game, but never count out those pesky Royals.
With two men on for the number 9 hitter, Freddie Fermin, who has been contributing with the bat more and more. And he hammers one down the left field line, and that ball is gone. It's a 3-run homer. Freddie Fermin, his 4th home run, and the Royals take the lead.
610 KCSP. Nice comeback for Kansas City. 9-4. They beat the Rays. The Royals have secured at least a series split in Tampa. Interleague action in Cleveland. Brewers visiting the Guardians. Brewers led into the 6th inning before Cleveland would come back.
The pitch swung and banged inside the bag at third into left, the base hit. Here comes Rosario. He'll score the tying run. Oh, what a piece of hitting by Josh Naylor with 2 strikes. And it's swung on, yanked to left, that's a base hit. Ramirez hits third. He'll try to score. Ball bobbled by Yelich. And that'll allow Ramirez to score uncontested. And the Guardians take a 3-2 lead, and David Fry comes through.
David Fry, what a guy. Guardians win 4-2, now just 1 game back of the Twins in the American League Central. Voyaging to the National League East, Phillies hosting the Mets Saturday. 2 teams that were expected to be a lot better this season. But hey, there's still more than half the season remaining.
With a count 1-1. Here's the pitch. He lines one the other way, a base hit going into right field. Marte scores. Alonso stops at second. Castellanos fires in. And on at first with an RBI single is Tommy Pham. The Mets are leading by a score of 4-2.
Howie Rose on WCBS with the call. Mets win 4-2 over the Phillies. New York still 6 games under 500. North of the border Saturday, the Toronto Blue Jays hosting the Oakland Athletics. Jays seeking insurance, and Vladdy's got him covered.
The 3-2 belt leaves, and Vladdy drives the ball to deep center field. Ruiz going back. He's done it again. Big fly, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 7-3 Blue Jays.
Sportsnet 590 had the call, 11th homer of the season for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Blue Jays win it 7-3 over the Oakland Athletics. Rubber match of that 3-game series later on today. Now, still to come on Sports Center all night, we've got Saturday's top plays, plus some NFL chatter. Still some big free agent names out there. You're listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
Coming up Monday, just how close is your favorite NBA team from competing for a title? Well, depending upon who you root for, you might not like my answer. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN Radio Sports Center all night. More next.
Instacart doesn't just help me get groceries and more delivered in as fast as an hour. I get time back. Time with my family. Cannonball. Time in Downward Dog. Time catching up on my favorite shows. When I spend less time shopping, I spend more time doing the things I love with the ones I love. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
Some things you never forget. Your morning coffee with just the right amount of sweetener. That protein-packed burrito. Your furry friend's mealtime excitement. You might not know that Cargill likely helped make those moments possible. And you can too. Working in a Cargill plant, you'll help make ingredients that feed billions worldwide. Be part of our production team where our great benefits, like competitive pay and paid vacation, work as hard as you do. Join us today and power your life forward at cargill.com/productionjobs.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Audible Originals podcasts have a little something for everyone, and we're excited to share that you can now stream 24 shows right on TuneIn, from true crime bombshells
and the police took him away
to mind-blowing post-apocalyptic stories.
It was a relic of the life he'd once had.
And everything in between. Plus, because these pods are on TuneIn, you can now stream them all on all your devices. Ready to dive in? Just search Audible on TuneIn to listen.
The TuneIn app is the most convenient way to access all your favorite audio on the go. Download the
Sports Center All Night continues with Chris Sylvester.
Oh, thanks for staying up all night with us. This is Sports Center All Night. ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Here's Saturday's top plays with Nick DeLuca.
Number 5.
Dodgers looking to get off to a good start against the interleague rival Astros. Mookie Betts thought he was getting LA on the board. Corey Julks had other plans. Roxy Bernstein on ESPN Radio. The 1-0 from Blanco, and Betts swings and a fly ball. Left field indeed. Back goes Corey Julks into the corner. Leaps in, and he caught it. Leaping catch right in front of the Dodger bullpen. May have brought a home run back.
Number 4.
Marlins looking for a lift late. John Birdie delivers with a walk-off single. The call on 940 WINZ.
Here is the 2-1 pitch. Birdie swings. Line drive right field. This baby is over. It's the 4th walk-off win of the season for the Marlins. John Birdie is the hero. And the Marlins walk off the Pirates 4-3-11.
Number 3.
Tough one yesterday for the O's, but Baltimore bouncing back in a big way. Tied at 4 in the 10th. Ryan McKenna sends the fans home happy. The call on WBAL.
The pitch from Topa. To the gap in right center field and deep. Hernandez on the run. Turning around. And it's out of here. It's out of here. A walk-off winner for Ryan McKenna. And the Orioles win the game.
Number 2.
Battle of the Sox in Chicago, and a tight one at the end of things. Elvis Andrus comes through in the clutch, a walk-off single. The call on ESPN 1000 in Chicago.
Kick by Jansen. Swing and a line drive into center. That's down. Remillard waves around third. The throw is not in time. Elvis Andrus wins it again. The White Sox walk off the Red Sox 5-4.
Number 1.
Extras in Omaha, down to the wire in the College World Series. Tied at 4 in the 11th. Cade Beloso comes through in the clutch on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
Here's the 0-1 to Beloso. Hit high and deep to right field. Giving it a look is Scheichhofer, and this baby's gone. Cade Beloso gives the Tigers a 4-3 lead.
Well, terrific moments from Saturday's slate. More to come with plenty on the docket on this final Sunday of June. Now, the most jaw-dropping final from baseball's busy slate Saturday was that 25-run outburst for the Angels against the Rockies at Coors Field. Here's what Halos manager Phil Nevin had to say about the club's historic night.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we came out, swung the bats and everything. It's just you get to a spot where you don't want to disrespect the game or Buddy Black and those guys over there, people that I love and care about. So you just don't want it to get out of hand.
Well, that's the winning side of a blowout. Angels set the franchise record for hits and runs in the game, 25 runs on 28 hits. But it can't be too much fun hanging around in the Rockies clubhouse after a loss like that. Here's Colorado manager Bud Black.
Location, right? I think, and he'll be the first to tell you when you talk to him. I think, there's too many balls in the, from the mid thigh to the belt, right? I mean, there's in his style of pitching, there's got to be balls at the knees. There's got to be fastballs at the top of the zone. You got to move the ball in and out. There's just too many balls in the middle.
Bud Black, former Angels pitching coach, detailing the struggles from Chase Anderson, Colorado's starter, in a 25-1 loss to the Angels on Saturday. Hey, football not terribly far away. After all, it's almost July. Still some big free agents in the NFL, most notably DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook. ESPN NFL reporter Jeremy Fowler on Darian Mel talks about what teams could start dreaming about a Super Bowl by adding either Hopkins or Cook.
And kind of put my radar on the AFC East a little bit with Dalvin Cook, just because of the Miami link you mentioned. Some teams I talked to believe that Dalvin does want to play for Miami. He's from there. And this is a team that can sort of sneakily win the AFC East, despite the presence of Buffalo and some others. Like this, a really good roster, won 9 games with 3 different quarterbacks last year. If 2 is healthy, that's a team to watch out for. So I would put them in contention, especially with the Dalvin Cook ad, or I wouldn't see Hopkins going to Miami. They have enough receivers there. Look, New England, I don't consider them a major contender, but we know they're all all in on Hopkins, and I believe they're at least intrigued by Dalvin Cook, that he's on the radar a little bit, because they cut James Robinson, a running back they gave some decent money to back in free agency. So it's clear they were looking for a back to pair with Ramondre Stevenson. So that could make some sense around training camp. Maybe they look into it.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see where those guys end up. Certainly a pair that could move the needle for a championship contender. Hey, that's all we've got for you on SportsCenter All Night. Up next on ESPN Radio, it's Best Week Ever. Thanks for staying up all night with us. I'm Chris Sylvester saying so long on SportsCenter All Night.
Who are the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL? I'll tell you when we kick off ESPN Radio's Rankem Series. Monday morning, 6 Eastern. ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Finding the perfect country soundtrack is easy with TuneIn's Country Road Station. Fill your day with the best music from country pop icons, whether you're cruising your own back roads or stuck inside at work, and everywhere in between, with country favorites from legends like Carrie Underwood or Florida Georgia Line, or some new hits from today's emerging country icons. Country Roads plays the country music you love. Just search Country Roads on TuneIn to listen.
Today's news can feel like uncharted waters. But more often than you'd think, we're not the first generation to confront what we're dealing with today.
We're just the first generation to make a podcast about it.
I'm Rachel Maddow.
I'm Isaac Davey Aronson. Each week, we'll bring you a story from history
that helps with something in the headlines today.
Rachel Maddow presents Deja News with Isaac Davey Aronson, an MSNBC podcast. Listen now on TuneIn.
If you're a country fan, then you love the classics. TuneIn's Vintage Country Station brings you the best tracks from country's past. And with TuneIn Premium, you can go commercial-free to keep the songs coming. That means you'll be listening to Hank Williams, Willie Nelson, Patsy Cline, after midnight, and the rest of your favorites without commercials. It's the greatest songs in country music history, nonstop, every day. Just upgrade to TuneIn Premium today to get started.
And a curveball smacked into left center field.
As a sports fan, you know action. And TuneIn is here to bring you all the action. From nonstop live sports coverage from the biggest leagues.
Ovechkin with a steal. Chance here on the break-in. Kuznetsov fires. Scores!
To in-depth podcasts on what's going on with your favorite teams. And all the game-changing content in between.
Randall, step back 3.
TuneIn is the playbook for sports fans.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy, candy, yeah.
Audiobook fans, get ready for a world of listening. TuneIn Premium now has over 100,000 titles for you to explore, unlimited and uninterrupted. For one great price, you get access to all the titles you want. To learn more, search for audiobooks or navigate to the audiobooks tab.
Hey, true crime fans. Have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah,
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Good morning. In Denver last night, the Angels could not stop scoring against the Rockies.
Angels have 20 runs on 20 hits already in this game. And here's Fletcher swinging and driving a ball deep out into left center. And that one is out of here. That is a 3-run homer for David Fletcher, and now it's 23-0.
On Angels Radio AM 830, Fletcher drives in 5. Every Angels starter had at least one hit and at least one RBI in a 25-1 win. A franchise record in runs and in hits with 28. Elsewhere, the Dodgers win their fourth in a row, 8-7, coming back late to beat the Astros. The winning run scored on a Ryan Stanek balk. The Nationals shut out the Padres 2-0. Jamer Candelario and Lane Thomas with home runs for Washington. The Tigers beat the Twins 3-2. 2 runs batted in for Zach McKinstry. The Reds' 12-game winning streak, their longest since 1957, is over. The Braves beat them in Cincinnati Saturday 7-6, with each team hitting 4 home runs. At the Men's College World Series, LSU's Cade Beloso hits a game-winning home run in the 11th to beat Florida 4-3 in Game 1 of the best-of-3 championship series. Game 2 today at 3 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. The Tigers could wrap up their first title since 2009.
Coming up Monday, just how close is your favorite NBA team from competing for a title? Well, depending upon who you root for, you might not like my answer. Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is the best week ever with Peter Burns and Courtney Cronin on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Indeed it is. Happy Sunday to you and yours. You are listening to the best week ever on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Don't care how you found us, just glad that you did. Courtney Cronin, Drew Carter sitting in for Peter Burns. He is out in Omaha, relishing in LSU's dominant week. We're going to hear from Peter later on in the show. But baseball having a moment this week. The Reds win streak got all the way up to 12. The Angels went crazy on the Rockies. And, of course, college baseball in the forefront. Bunch of NBA trades that went through ahead of the draft. And a couple that we're still wondering if they're going to happen. All of that coming your way this morning right here on ESPN Radio. But let's get into it with the biggest story of the week ever.
The biggest story of the week ever.
So in the history of decisions, the easiest decision ever is the one that the San Antonio Spurs pulled off on Thursday night, selecting Victor Wembanyama #1 overall.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
No drama there whatsoever, Drew. I think the Spurs actually disconnected all their phones, so nobody would call them trying to trade for the #1 overall pick.
And Courtney, I think the easiest decision ever is actually when JoJo picked Jordan to win The Bachelorette. That was the easiest decision ever. That's a little tease for later on in the show. I love The Bachelor. But yeah, you're right. This is probably the second easiest decision of all time. It's interesting you say that because we asked Jonathan Givony this earlier this week on ESPN Radio. How many players would not be traded for Victor Wembanyama right now? Like, how many teams would say no? I think Denver would say no. I think Milwaukee would say no, Jokic and Giannis. After that, I don't know if there's a team that would say no to a trade for Victor Wembanyama, and obviously the Spurs would never give him up.
And if you're listening to all the hype that's been lofted towards this guy, that he could be better than Nikola Jokic, that if he's a combination of if LeBron, Giannis, and Rudy Gobert had a baby, I don't know. The hype is there, but Victor Wembanyama is a San Antonio Spur. probably no better destination for him to go than to a place that has Pop as a head coach and an organization that knows how to win a title. Last night in baseball, the Los Angeles Angels opened up an absolute can on the Colorado Rockies, scoring 25 runs. Here's what it sounded like on the Angels radio network, AM 830, when they scored their 25th run.
Next pitch, and that's a shot hit to the third baseman, second for one, relay over to first base, and that is going to be in time, but on that one, coming in and scoring from third is Moniak, and that's a new franchise record, the 25th run of the night. It's 25-0 Angels.
So the Angels scored 13 runs in the third inning. That's an MLB record. They then hit 3 homers on 3 straight pitches, and that led them to a 25-1 win over the Colorado Rockies. I love this for baseball. I love seeing offense. And I mean, we've talked so much about the pitch clock and what that's brought to the game of baseball this year. But when you get a team that has Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout going yard, it's good for the overall product.
Yeah, and big shout to the Halos, because the Angels are ascending up the standings in the AL West. You see what I did there? The Angels ascending. It's great to see them in contention, because I feel like we were all just resigned to the fact that Mike Trout would never play in the playoffs and Shohei Ohtani would leave in the offseason. They're 6 games over 500. And also, I wish we could play every game like a mile above sea level. Can we put a baseball stadium on top of Denali in Alaska, 20,000 feet above sea level? The scores would be like 100-98. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if Phil Nevin thinks that would be awesome. Here's what the Angels manager had to say after the historic night, but not wanting to hurt some feelings.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we came out, swung the bats and everything. It just, you get to a spot where you don't want to disrespect the game, or Buddy Black and those guys over there, people that I love and care about. So you just don't want it to get out of hand.
There's no slaughter rule in baseball, Drew. What are we talking about?
First of all, Phil, I'm glad you sound so excited. He sounded just stoked about what his team had just done. Number 2, it's ridiculous. Like, what are they going to do? Take every pitch once they score their 25th run? Give me a break. I mean, we do this every year, Courtney. The unwritten rules in baseball are just out of control, but it happens in every sport. You don't want to run it up. Well, once you start not running it up, then you stop playing the game, and then you get into, like, really dangerous territory, I think, where guys can get injured. Keep swinging the bats, Angels. I would have liked to see them get to 50 last night.
It stops at 25. That is a 25-1 win for the Los Angeles Angels over the Colorado Rockies. You are listening to the best week ever on ESPN Radio. Courtney Cronin, Drew Carter kicking it with you on this Sunday morning. How about the Cincinnati Reds having a moment themselves? Their win streak ended at 12 yesterday. That was actually one of our best bets from Mikey C on Dari and Mel, one that he got right, one that I did not think he would get right. So I'll eat a little crow on that this morning. But let's backtrack to Friday night. Ellie De La Cruz, the absolutely sensational player for the Cincinnati Reds, hits for the cycle to make it 11-7 Cincinnati in the 6th inning.
Here's the 2-2. And there's a drive toward the right center field gap. That's down. This will send India around third. De La Cruz going for third. Here's the relay. Not in time. An RBI triple for Ellie De La Cruz, and he has just hit for the cycle.
Incredible moment there for the 21-year-old Ellie De La Cruz. Only the second player in Major League Baseball history to hit for the cycle and steal a base in a game. Just wild stuff.
Well, I think it's like his 20th big league game, and he's already hit for the cycle, and I'm almost surprised it took him that long. I mean, he's a cyborg. He's 6'7". He might be the fastest player in the bigs. He hits the ball, it feels like 115 average exit velo. I love Ellie De La Cruz, and I wonder if San Antonio had a baseball team, if they would trade Wemby for Ellie De La Cruz, because it feels like those two guys are kind of on a similar path right now. They're just, it's like they're not even built for this sport, and they've come from a different planet to take over basketball and baseball respectively. He's so fun to watch. I implore anyone who hasn't seen at least a highlight of Ellie De La Cruz to check it out.
700 WLW on the call of Ellie De La Cruz's RBI triple. That happened in Friday's game to give the Cincinnati Reds their 12th straight win. That win streak ended last night, but It's been a great week for the Cincinnati Reds. They get Joey Votto back for the first time this season. Their young infield finally is clicking, and now they are ahead in the National League Central with everyone else chasing their tails. Going over to college baseball now. The College World Series may end tonight. What a week for LSU. On Monday, they end up losing to Wake Forest. They have to win 3 straight to get into the championship round against Florida. They do just that, and apparently it's the 11th inning that this team likes to do all of its work.
Here's the 0-1 to Beloso. Hit high and deep to right field. Giving it a look is Scheikhofer, and this baby's gone! Kay Beloso gives the Tigers a 4-3 lead.
LSU Sports Radio Network on the call. It was a 4-3 final for LSU. They have a chance to close things out tonight against Florida. We've talked so much about this Paul Skeens guy, who's going to be either the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft. But how about Ty Floyd? Career high 17 strikeouts last night. I'm watching this game, and I'm like, does this team have like 4 aces, Drew? Is that even possible on a roster?
Kylie McDaniel, who covers MLB prospects for ESPN, pretty sure he said LSU has a better farm system than half the organizations in MLB. They have so many good prospects. And, Skeens is great, and then they've got other pitchers. And then Dylan Cruz is great. At bat, he's on like a 75-game on-base streak. He might be the only guy drafted higher than his teammate, Paul Skeens. And then you got Beloso, who seems to be the most clutch player in the world right now. It's not his first bomb in the College World Series. That was a no-doubter in the 11th inning. I think they're calling him Bombino, as in Bomb-een and then E-A-U-X. We'll have to ask Peter Burns about that later on in the show. But what's amazing, Courtney, is what LSU's doing on the baseball field, not the most impressive thing they're doing in Omaha, because they have bought 37,695 Jell-O shots at Rocco's, which is easily a record for the College World Series. Go to Twitter, and I think it's called Jell-O Shot Challenge. You'll find it. LSU is doing some unthinkable stuff in Omaha.
They really are. I actually heard that the owner of Cane's Chicken came in and bought a bunch of those when it looked like they were going to be out of the College World Series earlier this week. Not sure if, having somebody who's a multimillionaire come in at the last minute and set you over the edge is a fair thing or not. Fair, foul, let us know throughout the show. 888 ESPN 888-729-3776. Whenever you want to join the conversation right here on the best week ever. Straight ahead, we will dive back into the most obvious choice in NBA history, at least in recent history, with the Spurs drafting Victor Wembanyama number 1 overall. This is the best week ever on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Who are the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL? I'll tell you when we kick off ESPN Radio's Rank 'em series. Monday morning, 6 Eastern. ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Are you always on the go but don't want to miss your favorite music? Then the TuneIn app is the perfect solution for you. Now you can take all your favorite audio with you wherever you go. Download the app and never miss a beat with TuneIn.
Hey, true crime fans. Have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems.
But sports ain't one. Sports.
Deep to left field. There it goes.
3. Loaded and wide open. Touchdown.
As long as you listen to sports on TuneIn, you don't have any problems. Sports and Sports Talk is on TuneIn Radio. Search sports to listen now.
Hey, it's Garth Brooks with big news. The Big 615 is here and live on TuneIn. You know the dream was to build a country station where you could hear today's superstars like Luke Combs. You got a fast car. Along with new music from the greats like George Strait. And along the way, discover new artists as well. And it's all commercial free. Search for the Big 615 on TuneIn and start listening. Or just tell your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Today's news can feel like uncharted waters. But more often than you'd think, we're not the first generation to confront what we're dealing with today.
We're just the first generation to make a podcast about it.
I'm Rachel Maddow.
I'm Isaac Davey Aronson. Each week, we'll bring you a story from history
that helps with something in the headlines today.
Rachel Maddow presents Deja News with Isaac Davey Aronson, an MSNBC podcast. Listen now on TuneIn.
There's nothing like the sound of the ballpark. And this season, you can listen live right on TuneIn Premium. That's right, every single game of the MLB season is now available. From now...
A swing. Line drive, base hit, right center field.
...to the World Series.
Fly ball to left.
Upgrade to TuneIn Premium today to follow your favorite team all season long. Just search Premium to play ball.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices?
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama.
Accomplishing something that I've been dreaming of, my whole life. Hearing that sentence from Adam Silver, I've dreamed of it so much.
He's a 7'5" Kevin Durant. That's who he plays like. He plays like KD.
He's going to be one of the best shot blockers in the league. I mean, he's going to be unbelievable.
There's a photo that surfaced on Twitter late last night of Victor Wembanyama, the number 1 overall pick to the San Antonio Spurs just 3 days ago, having dinner with Spurs legends Sean Elliott, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. And of course, Victor Wembanyama at 7'5" towers over everyone. But Manu Ginobili is 6'6", which is a very respectable height if you are a basketball player, and looks tiny in comparison to the French superstar. This is the best week ever on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Courtney Cronin, Drew Carter kicking it with you this morning. The show, as always, is presented by Progressive Insurance. And in the time that Victor Wembanyama arrived in the United States, we saw him throw out the first pitch at a Yankees game last week. He gets drafted number 1 overall. There's tears of joy knowing he's going to a place that is going to set him up for success, not just as a rookie, but long term. And then seeing him go on this Texas tour with all of these other superstars that have been part of all of the world championships that the Spurs won, creating a culture where he's going to be insulated from some of these absurd expectations that we've been lofting at this guy, Drew, for a long time. It's a really cool, welcoming party to see how they're handling getting Victor Wembanyama ingratiated in the Spurs culture early on.
Yeah, Courtney, I just want to know if Marty Smith was invited to that dinner. I mean, if you get his face in the back of your head, you better get the invite to the dinner, and he would obviously be the shortest guy there by a mile. It's almost storybook stuff. I mean, it's the absolute perfect situation. especially with, like you said, the expectations around this guy. You know, you look back at the last time the Spurs had the first pick, they take Tim Duncan. They increased their win total by 36 the next year. It's a little bit inflated because David Robinson only played 6 games the previous season. They were horrible. That's why they drafted first. But next year they won 56 games. I don't think this iteration of the Spurs is going to do that, but this organization has set the standard in the NBA for the last 25 years. And I think there's a really nice core in place for this team where if you plug in a guy who we expect to be a superstar within his first few years in the league, I mean, you look at the supporting cast, like, it's a horrible roster if you look at it last year. Like, if Keldon Johnson is your leading scorer, you're going to have a bad time. And they were 29th in offense and 30th in defense last year from an efficiency perspective. But once you put in the superstar, those guys start to look a lot better. Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Trey Jones in supporting roles, all of a sudden it looks pretty good. And I think the Spurs have a chance to be decent next year. Obviously, the West is loaded. Don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But with the culture they have in place there and obviously the coach at the top, I think they're going to be just fine pretty soon.
It's a young roster, and that's okay. When you look at the makeup of the San Antonio Spurs, a team that won 20 games last year by design, by the way. Like, let's not say that they were like trying their hardest. The roster that they fielded, you know, they put on the floor night in and night out was supposed to get them Victor Wembanyama. They were supposed to put themselves in position to be the number one team, or the team with the number one pick when the lottery happened on May 16th. And lo and behold, they ended up with the number one pick. But that's a young core that with Victor Wembanyama in the fold, they can continue to build around, and then adding in free agency with some pretty strategic moves of some veterans. I think this is a team that's going to be closer to getting back in contention than it taking several years. Like, the reason this works is because the Spurs culture itself, of the amount of international players that they have brought into the program. I mean, I just mentioned a whole host of them. You know, Boris Diaw, another one who, you know, has been part of that mix. Somebody who's also has international ties akin to Victor Wembanyama. They know what they're doing down there. They've been out of this for a couple years now, but they haven't been that far because they've won titles in 99, 2003, 2005, 2007, and then again in 2014. And oh, by the way, Greg Popovich is still going to be the head coach for at least Victor Wembanyama's rookie year, if not longer. And when you hear Pop talk about Victor Wembanyama and how excited he is to have Wemby on the team, well, I got it. You just got to hear Pop himself say this. Take a listen.
As I just said, he's Victor, and that's who I want him to be, and that's who myself and our staff will coach. And, of course, anybody would be excited about getting the number one pick in a draft. So I'm very excited. You don't want me to jump up and down, do you? Put on a show for you? I'd do a somersault, but I'd be out for 3 months.
Greg Popovich saying it in a way that only Greg Popovich can. This is the best week ever on ESPN Radio, ESPN app. Courtney Cronin, Drew Carter, not doing somersaults over Victor Wembanyama being selected by the Spurs, but excited about the fit because of the expectations. When he says he wants Victor to be Victor, Greg Popovich knows all of the outside noise and probably thinks some of the things we're saying about this guy are a little absurd, hyperbolic at the very least, because while he can be this franchise-changing player, a generational talent, that's definitely been thrown out about his skill set, you have to bring it back to he's going to have the rookie wall at some point. He's going to have to get his 7'5", 210-pound body NBA ready to handle players that are bigger and stronger than him, maybe not bigger from a size standpoint from height, but bigger, more physical players that he's going to have to prepare himself for. And the Spurs have been through this with players before.